everyone, this is Puka back with another edition of the Beginner Decks. This series of videos is aimed towards players who are just jumping in to the competitive scene on the Pokemon TCG, looking for a place to start. We have pretty simple, straightforward decks in order to help you learn the mechanics of the game and just kind of develop strategies and learn how to play. So this deck is probably one of the most straightforward decks we have in the format right now, but it's also a very powerful one. And that is going to be the Tool Drop deck. Now, this deck is going to revolve around, believe it or not, this Trubbish card. It looks kind of weak. It only has 70 HP, just a little basic Pokemon, but boy, does it pack a punch. Tool Drop does 20 damage for each Pokemon tool in play. So, attached to either your Pokemon or your opponent's Pokemon, 20 damage for each Pokemon tool in play. So, obviously, your goal is going to be get as many tools in play as possible. Use Tool Drop, do tons of damage, and try to just mow over your opponent before they can really stop you. So Tool Drop only costs 2 energy. It is a pretty cheap attack cost, so it's a nice, simple deck to start off with. So that is our main strategy, just use Tool Drop. We don't really have any other attackers in the deck. Now, you might think, well, you can only attach one Pokemon tool to a Pokemon, right? Your damage is going to be pretty limited. But that's where this Sigilyph comes in. It has the ability Toolbox, which allows it to have 4 Pokemon tools attached to it at once. So you can just attach and attach and attach until you have 4 Pokemon tools on the Sigilyph, and now all of a sudden it's, oh, we can start to do lots and lots of damage if we just stack tools onto this guy. And you can have up to 4 in play if you want, so that is a ton of tools you can put into play. Normally we need about 8 or 9 Pokemon tools to really knock out everything we would want to knock out in the game, which is very doable with Sigilyph. So this is kind of the key to making the deck work. Toolbox is an awesome ability. Obviously, it seems like it was made to work alongside Trubbish. The other thing we're going to have here is Mascarene. It has the tool reversal ability. Allows you to pick up a tool off of one of your Pokemon and put it back into your hand. This way you can reattach it to a new Pokemon in case, you know, the tool you need is on a different Pokemon, or there's a tool that's no longer useful on one of your Pokemon. You can then pick it up, move it around, and this helps a lot because a lot of the Pokemon tools we're going to look at have specific purposes, and being able to rearrange them is very important. So we run 2 Mascarene and then 2 Surskit. That is the basic Pokemon of Mascarene. You need one of these to evolve into one of these. Sigilyph we run 4 of, just because it is so important, and Trubbish is your main attacker, so we have 4 of those as well. Now, otherwise, it's going to be pretty simple. The Pokemon tools we'll look at here, EXP Shear is the big one. When your active Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, you may move 1 basic energy card that was attached to that Pokemon to the Pokemon this card's attached to. So to put it simply, if your Pokemon is knocked out by damage, your active Pokemon, you get to take an energy off it and then put it onto the bench Pokemon that has EXP Share on it. This allows you to keep a constant stream of attackers, since let's face it, Trubbish only has 70 HP. It's only going to live so long, so we need to find a way to keep generating energy in play, and EXP Share is your way to do that. Floatstone is a general purpose tool. It's just flat out good, gives your Pokemon no retreat cost. It allows you to attack quickly with this deck, because your Pokemon do have retreat costs, which you really can't afford to pay, since every energy attachment is so important in this deck. So Floatstone, this is a pretty general tool. You'll see this in most decks anyway. We have 4 of those. And then we have more of the specialized tools here. Silver Bangle is a very important one. If you attach it to your active Pokemon and then you attack against the defending Pokemon that's a Pokemon EX, you'll do 30 more damage. So this allows you to knock out those big bad EX Pokemon that have 170, 180 HP. You can knock them out with ease if you get Silver Bangle on your Trubbish, along with a bunch of other tools in play. So Silver Bangle, arguably one of the most important tools in this deck. Then we have Silver Mirror. This is for Team Plasma decks, because Team Plasma Pokemon are very popular. There are the Thundurus EX, Deoxys EX, Lugia EX, the Plasma Curum, the Plasma Absol. Lots and lots of Team Plasma Pokemon out there. are very popular, and Silver Mirror prevents you from being hurt by those Pokemon. So this is another tool that we just have that has a specific purpose, just to counter Team Plasma Pokemon. If Team Plasma Pokemon are not being played anymore, you can easily swap this out with something else, but it's nice to have as long as it's being played. Evo Lite is another one. If this Pokemon is attached to, or if this tool is attached to a basic Pokemon, take 20 less damage from attacks. So this can be really nice in all sorts of situations to reduce the damage done by 20. That's going to wrap up our tools. We have 16 of them, which, I mean, if you manage to get all of them in play, Tool Drop will then do 320 damage, so it's not bad. More realistically, you're probably going to lose some throughout the course of the game. So, you need to have probably 6, 7, 8 tools in play at a time. So 16 is a pretty good number just to be able to refresh those tools from time to time. Then we have the supporter cards, the draw engine, so to speak. We have 4 Professor Juniper. This is going to allow you to burn through your deck very quickly, discard your hand, and draw 7 cards. N is another general purpose supporter. It'll allow you to draw 6 cards at the beginning of the game, and it can be good for card disruption at the end of a game. One of the important cards in the deck is Bicycle. It's an item card, not a supporter card, so you can play it as often as you want. You know, there's no restriction like supporter cards where you can only play them once per turn. Bicycle, you can just keep doing it. This is very good when you just keep drawing tools, you keep attaching them, draw some more cards, draw some more tools, play some more down, Bicycle for more. This really allows you to draw through your deck very quickly. So 4 Bicycle is really going to get the job done here. Then we have Chorus, which is a little less reliable, but a lot of the times you're going to have a very big bench since you need so many things. You need the Mascarene, you need the Sigilyph on your bench, you need more Trubbish. So Chorus is good because it draws cards for each bench Pokemon for both sides. This can become a very powerful draw card in the later stages of the game. So Chorus is here as well. For other trainer cards we have Level Ball. Since everything in the deck has 90 HP or less, Level Ball lets you search for any Pokemon in your deck. No drawbacks, no nothing. Just play a Level Ball, search for what you want, put it in your hand. Pretty cool. Play 4 of these because, well, it grabs everything. Why not? Then we have 2 Escape Rope. This is kind of a disruption card. It's a little bit more of an advanced tactic, but it allows you to kind of mess with your opponent's active Pokemon. Pokemon Catcher is changed now. It's a little less reliable, so we're going to go with this instead. So your opponent switches their active Pokemon with a bench Pokemon. They get to choose, and then you get to do the same. So in some spots, you can force out a Pokemon that maybe you don't want to deal with, or maybe you can bring out a Pokemon on their bench that's more valuable to them so you can knock it out. And it also works as a switch card for yourself in case you're afflicted by a status condition and you want to move your active Pokemon out of the active spot. So there's 2 Escape Rope in this deck. Then there's 1 Super Rod. Shuffle in 3 Pokemon and or basic energy cards from your discard pile back into your deck. Any combination of 3. This can help you get back Trubbish and energy mainly, but it can also be used on the Mascarene line and Sigilyph. This is very useful because, well, you only have 4 Trubbish, so you need some way to get them back sometimes. And then the last card we're going to look at is Dowsing Machine. Discard 2 cards from your hand, and then get a trainer card back from your discard pile, and put it into your hand. Pretty simple. It'll allow you to get back certain things you may need. It can get back a supporter card. Maybe you need another Super Rod because you had to discard it early on. Maybe you just need another Pokemon tool. Dowsing Machine is a very general purpose card that really helps out in this kind of a deck. And then finally we have the energy cards. We just have 9 Psychic Energy cards. You don't need a lot for this deck because it only costs 2 energy to use Tool Drop, but you do need a healthy amount, otherwise you're not going to be able to draw into them consistently enough. You may consider going up to 10, or maybe around that number, but 9 usually gets the job done in this kind of a deck. Every deck's different, so the energy costs will be different, so you'll have to build your deck accordingly, but for this one, 9 seems like a pretty solid number. So that is going to wrap up the Tool Drop deck. I did play a quick game with it just to kind of demonstrate the strategy, so we'll go ahead and take a look at that right now. So before we start the game, we flip a coin to see who goes first. I won the coin flip, so I choose to go first. I want to go first to give myself an extra opportunity to draw more Pokemon tools, put some energy into play, and all that good stuff. We have a pretty solid opening hand, a few Pokemon tools. We have a Surskit. I'm not going to bother to bench the Surskit at the start of the game, because I know I'm going first. My opponent did not have a basic Pokemon, that's called the Mulligan, so I get to draw an extra card before the game starts. Then we're going to play a level ball, just take a look through my deck and see if any important cards ended up in the prizes. And in this situation, I noticed Mascarene is in the prizes, the second one. So I want to refrain from playing my Professor Juniper this turn and discarding the Mascarene I have in my hand, because I need that in play as part of my strategy. So we need to hold on to the Professor Juniper. Normally you like to draw as many cards as possible, but in this situation, that Mascarene is so important that I can't afford to discard it. So instead, we're just going to attach a few Pokemon tools to my active Sigilyph. Again, it can have 4 Pokemon tools on it because of the toolbox ability. We're going to attach the energy to the bent Trubbish and just pass the turn. Now, my opponent has a Mewtwo EX, which is pretty scary. And there's a Pokemon catcher. He flips heads and brings out my Surskit. But thankfully, he does not have a double colorless energy, which would have allowed him to use X-Ball on this turn. That could have been pretty devastating. But instead, looks like he's just going to pass the turn. And you're going to see this deck is going to, maybe have an opportunity to knock out that Mewtwo right away. We're going to evolve into Mascarene, play Professor Juniper. And here we go, we get some more Trubbish. Gonna play a level ball. Search out another Sigilyph, probably. You like to have multiples of those in play. Just to have a place to put your Pokemon tools. So we'll put that down. We'll also play the other level ball, but I'm not gonna take anything because I'd like to draw more cards with Bicycle. And then we'll put an energy on the Trubbish. Bicycle to draw 3 cards. We'll play a Silver Mirror onto something. I thought about using Tool Reversal here, but it's probably just a waste of time. I can go back and do that whenever I want. So we'll just put down the Silver Mirror, Bicycle again, draw 2 more. And now we can Tool Reversal. This is why Mascarene is so important. Pick up the Floatstone, retreat into the Trubbish after we attach the Floatstone to Mascarene. Then we can Tool Reversal once again, pick up the Silver Bangle, because doing the math, I'll have enough in play to knock out this Mewtwo EX in one hit, and we'll Tool Drop for 240 damage on the second turn of the game with Tool Drop, since that Mewtwo EX is weak to Psychic. I also have that Silver Mirror on the active Trubbish, because I noticed my opponent has a lot of Team Plasma Pokemon, and those won't be able to affect me because of the Silver Mirror. So now my opponent gets a Rare Candy into a Crobat. It's a stage 2, but it won't really help him right now. Looks like he's retreating into that Giratina, which requires a lot of energy to attack. So it looks like Trubbish is safe for now. That was a scary turn for me. If he could have knocked out the Trubbish somehow, then I would have been left with no energy in play and no response because Tool Drop takes 2 energy. So this is usually the fragile spot for the Tool Drop deck. These kind of turns where you only have those 2 energy in play, but it looks like he's going to pass, which means we're going to get another chance to attach another energy, and we're going to take complete control of this game. I want to play an Escape Rope to force my opponent to promote a more useful Pokemon, since that Giratina really isn't doing much for him. And I have an option here to play Colress or Professor Juniper. Both draw me 7 cards, but those ends are not cards I want in my deck anymore, because they're starting to draw me less and less cards. So I'm going to play Professor Juniper and just kind of bite the bullet and discard all those supporters, just so I don't have to draw the N anymore. And then we'll attach an Evo Lite and Tool Drop for 140 damage, since we have 7 Pokemon tools in play. Now the Deoxys comes out, and you can see, look, I have Silver Mirror, and that Deoxys EX is a Team Plasma Pokemon, so it does 0 damage to my Trubbish. That is why Silver Mirror can be so valuable in this deck. And we're going to respond by a Tool Drop for 320 damage to the Deoxys EX, collecting 2 more prizes since it is an EX. And from here, my opponent concedes the game, because he sees there is nothing else he can do. So hope you guys enjoyed. We'll have some more videos for you guys soon. I am Puka from the Top Cut. Good luck for you guys starting off, and I'll see you guys next time.